Yes, 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 indeed. Nitro is not the glory on this podcast. This is all about 10 scale. Welcome to our JConcepts INS 15 10 scale mid-year report because it's almost June. There's been quite a lot of 10 scale racing, including 2 races for the INS, plus one coming up this week. Well, next weekend, sorry, in 2 weeks' time. And joining me this weekend is the man behind the JConcepts INS 15 series, Mr. Jason Rouna. What's up, J-Ro?
How you doing, Lefty?
I'm doing all right. You're actually home for a week.
Yes, both me and you, we've been traveling quite a bit. I don't know who's in the lead. I would think that you're probably in the lead with some of these long stretches. Man, you've put in 3, 4, 5 weeks on the road, and it's not easy to do that. So, yeah, but I mean, I'm sure everybody appreciates you being there and doing those events, and kind of going between 10 scale and 8 scale now with your schedule. So it's nice to see that. And but yeah, I all of March, I think I was somewhere every week in March, including Australia. So
That's right. You have me on miles and destinations.
there you go.
So I have you on driven miles.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
for
lots
sure.
of driving.
That's
Uh,
for sure.
you did go down to Australia. The last time we saw each other was at INS in Michigan.
Hmm.
You were not at PNB because you was in Australia for the warm up.
That's right.
So things are getting serious, man. We're only like about what 4 months away, 5 months away from the Worlds, pretty much. So
Yes.
it's starting to become a serious thing here. We just had you had to warm up a couple of months ago. We have we just had the Dart Nats, which was good as well.
Hmm.
INS was good. We've had a lot of good 10 scale racing in this first half of the year. Uh, it's been great. We're going to start this off with I wanted to start this off with something else because I wanted to give you some kudos, but we can't. I'm going to give you some kudos at the end. Remember to give you some kudos, give you some flowers at the end of this podcast. Jay
Okay,
Concepts.
okay, that's fine.
I have to start this off. I've been saying this now for like the last 4 podcasts. I think this is the most competitive mod and stock class. Now, I haven't been paying attention to 10 scale for many years, but it's been a while. It's been either a Rivkin, Rock Champlin, or a Fen type of show with maybe a little mix of somebody else getting a podium here, Aiden Horn and stuff like that. Well, right now I think we have a competitive 10 car field where I wouldn't say any of these guys can win, but the majority of these guys can win at the time. We're seeing some great talent with Schimmel, Davey Bada, Lemieux, Horn, all these guys looking a lot better, looking a lot racy. Now, I'm not saying that Schimmel and these guys are legends like some of the guys we've seen before, or not yet, because they still have a career ahead of them. They are racing against some legends. But right now, in the modern stock class, it's uber competitive. And we've seen that. We saw that at the Dartnets. We saw that at INS. And then you flip it. And then on the stock class, it's kind of the same. I think in the stock class, it depends really on the surface. We see a group of people, of stock racers that are good on carpet, exceptional, just a little scotch ahead of those guys in the dirt. And then you have the guys that are really good on the dirt. And then hopefully, the good thing about this is that they're all going to combine her in 2 weeks' time at Island Raceway on carpet because it's kind of like a nationals warm up as well. So everybody's kind of going to be there. So it's uber competitive, man.
Before you even mention it, I was going to say that it's been um I'm gonna say almost refreshing in a sense that we don't have a dominator that's kind of just coming in and 2 TQs done, 2 A main wins done. We have a pretty serious competition going on here. I want to say maybe of the 4 classes that you're kind of referring to, maybe 3 of them went to an A3 when we were at um, RC1
Mhm.
for our second event there. And I want to say maybe because I know at least the mod classes went to an A3, and I think one of the 17.5 or 13.5, if not both, went down to an A3. So um, I agree. I like this competitiveness. We have some different heroes kind of shaping up at these different events. Like you said, there's some drivers that tend to gravitate their skills more towards carpet or more towards dirt, and like you said, that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing it in both classes.
Mhm.
Seeing a couple guys that are starting to show some signs of some greatness on the track, and can they continue that type of success moving forward is now what the measuring stick is. So you can kind of sneak up on people in this or in competition. You can sneak up on people, but once you become a winner, there's gets a target on your back, and then you have to be able to kind of fend these people off, right? And that's what the drivers like the Dakotas and the Mayfields and the Spencers, and they've been at the top of this game for quite a bit in their class of specialty, and they are able to um, stake their claim. They're able to come back, have a good race, kind of reclaim some of what's theirs, and so we're seeing some new drivers entering the picture, and it's usually a rough entrance for anybody trying to break into the elite because the guys don't handle it very well when a new person is beating them. There tends to be conflicts and arguments and people that don't they don't take too well to being beaten, and you got to go through as a wall there. Brock Champlin went through it. Him and Spencer had their fair share of run-ins, and not just them, but others. But you got to kind of break through those walls. You got to get that respect, and once you get that respect, um, that's when you can start, kind of running off these wins of your own.
Yeah, absolutely. If we're gonna go off of INS, the 2 people that impressed me the most in mod were not the winners, but it was actually Schimmel and Davy Bada. I thought they were the 2 fastest guys in mod at that race. Bada just kept getting, like, the shit end of the stick, it seemed like a lot.
Mm.
He got kept getting caught up in traffic. Schimmel made mistakes, and I swear Schimmel also backed off a little bit and checked up for Dakota, right? That's what I'm trying. I was gonna get into my point later about Xray. But Bada was I thought Bada was the one guy that could make a mistake, chase down Fenn when he was up in the lead and catch him up, but he would make another mistake or get taken out. And it was unfortunate for him. He was fast all week. He seemed that way at the dirt nets as well.
Mhm.
And and then who impressed me in stock was Aaron Mitchell.
Yeah.
Aaron Mitchell was very good. And out of the Florida boys, who surprised me was I was surprised that um McCoy Martin was
Mhm.
very good, but who surprised me was Chavez. I thought Chavez was going to be because that's his carpet,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Carpet is his thing,
Mhm.
and he was kinda off on in stock. He did do double duty. He did do
Yeah.
mod as well,
Yeah.
and I would say Nate Sutherland also kinda was, uh, somewhat disappointing with his results as well
Mhm.
because I was excited that he was going back down to stock, which I've been vocal about him staying there, and
Mhm.
he started off okay. He did win truck, but
Mhm.
just didn't have that finish that he needed and that he wanted, and it was a Dustin Fox,
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
was absolutely kinda the only person who really had something for Fox was Mitchell, to
Yeah.
be honest, and those 2 battled it out, and, like, this guy Mitchell, he doesn't even have a painted body. He's just like, "Yeah, where's your painted body?" Like, just a white
Mhm.
body,
Mhm.
and it was exciting to see, and I know there was some there's I know at Island, there's gonna be faster guys like Jovi, and I hope
Yeah.
he comes,
Mhm.
because that kid's fast, and then, of course, we're gonna have the Raymond brothers and Passione. They should be all going to this race because it's a warm-up, so we're looking at a very stacked carpet race coming up
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're gonna see. And it's a track that I like going to. We started going there on a recommendation. I don't know if it was from was it was from Tor Ott, I believe, that gave us the recommendation. Either him or Joe Zaire, one of the two, gave us this recommendation to go to Island to race. And I'd never been there. I just looked at the photos online. I said, hey, I trust these guys. They've been to our races, and let's do it. And we went there, and it's a cool building, and it's a cool racing atmosphere I think that we're going to have there. And obviously we're going to see some more battles. We're going to see some of these disagreements. We're going to see some of these people not happy here and there, because that honestly it's a lot of today's racing is like that, because especially when you're going to have carpet or high traction dirt, there really only is one line to race. So you either have to wait on somebody forever, or you take that chance and you on a move that is questionable, and sometimes it turns out pretty ugly. And that's what we see in this kind of racing. I don't necessarily blame the drivers, the way it kind of pans out at times. I don't think anybody is really malicious out there and just trying to take everybody out, because usually when you try to take somebody out, you have to be pretty good at it to drive away yourself without having a problem. So I think it's stuff that happens due to the nature, the speed of this, the one line nature of the racing, and the way it goes. That's why it's important to qualify well and put yourself in the position where you're the one that somebody has to take out to win, because then chances are things are on your side with races, officialing, officials and replays. We went into that. We did some replays there at RC1. So we've gotten into a little bit of all of it so far. Between Lance and myself, you were there, Danny. We had a nice little crew watching the races and trying to make some decisions, and trying to give the racers the benefit of the doubt at times to go back and take a second look at some of these things, and determine if it's overrulable type of thing. Makes it kind of fun, and adds a different element to it. And I think we've been pretty successful having good races so far, and the right people are winning.
Yeah, and wow, we could go. This segues great into my next topic, which is hot carpet, hot temper,
Mhm,
and this is something that it's not unique to at RC1. We're seeing this happen over in Europe. This has been a great discussion. We see this happen to Ron Orlowski. Because these, like you said, these guys are going so fast. You give them all the speed that they can handle, and there probably is a little bit that they can handle,
mhm.
and they're going to push it to the limits. And we saw this come to a head at INS, which kind of brought one of the moments that I like. I think I always say this. I told Danny Paz after this, I said, from now on, we will be positioned at the bottom of the driver's stand as much as possible. Somewhere we just come out and see this, right? Because coming off the driver's stand, you get to see all the raw emotions. You get to go stick a microphone in this guy's faces, and you get all of that, which I like because we need that.
Yeah.
But Tater, I mean, it started with Tater and Aiden. They were kind of going back and forth all weekend.
Mhm,
Lance had to pull him over. Tater's like, yeah, I'm blocking him. I don't care. I don't have to get out of his way. Tater was struggling. He had massive, massive electronic problems
mhm.
with his two-wheel drive. And four-wheel drive, he was okay. I honestly feel he should be feeling the pressure of being a world champion, and that oh, you win a world champion and you have that curse on your back. You don't do nothing after that. So I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on his. He's a very young kid. He's what, 18, 19, so he's still young.
If that.
He's got he's got pressure to do well. Aiden is trying to do well as well. He's got pressure. They got mixed things coming on.
Mhm.
So what people have to understand that this thing was going on all day,
Yeah, oh,
all
yeah,
weekend. Sorry.
yeah.
So it came to a head. There was mixed feelings about what Aiden done, and me. I loved it. I think there was he was angry and funny at the same time. I wish Tater would have said something. I reached out to Tater for a statement. He said no. He's like, I'm not giving you a statement. So yeah, we got our moment. I mean, you was right there. Charlie Swank was right there when it happened. You guys were like, I was just,
Yeah.
I was shocked. I like that type of stuff. I think this wouldn't have happened 5 years ago
Mhm.
in the live RC industry. So that to me, that's a good thing. Some people may frown on it, but hey, you have to understand that these guys are one, racing for money at some point, or racing for some contingency at this point, and they want to win, right? They want to win. They want to do well. They have to do well, right? Because that's their survival. So there was a lot of comments about I can't do this on my regular job and this and that, and we get that. I understand that, but this isn't a regular job. This is something different. I think it's no different than any other sport where we see people get upset. There's rivalries. And I don't know if there's an Aiden versus Tater rivalry at the moment, but I would definitely say there is an Xray associated rivalry brewing with a little sprinkle of Schumacher.
Mhm.
Because Schumacher, obviously Schumacher and Xray, they kind of are rivals over in Europe, right? They're
Yeah.
big rivals
Mhm.
on road and off road. And over here, it seems like every time I go to one of these 10 skill races, it just seems like the Xray team is bigger and bigger every time I go there. I
Yeah.
can't imagine what it's gonna look like at Island in a couple of weeks in a
It's
week's time.
it's gonna be massive, and I totally agree with what you're saying, about what's happening, and I don't think neither one of these guys, when I talk to them individually, I just did at the Roar Nationals, Tater and Aiden. When I start talking to them about it, they all are smiling, right? Like Tater's smiling about it. He's like, "What are you gonna ask me? Like, what do you want me to do?" Like, and Aiden's the exact same way. He's smiling. He's like, "What did you think?" Like, and I he said that I think that the two guys are still kind of friends, to be honest. Like, I think if one called the other and said, "Hey, do you want to go whatever golf or whatever?" I think they would both go. But these are the things you're gonna see. I mean, this stuff has happened with Ryan and Spencer. It's happened with Ryan and everybody along along the lines at some point. Um, but um, it's a way to you tell people what you feel at that exact moment off the driver's stand, like you said, and then it's just kind of over with. And I think that there isn't necessarily like to me, like driver stand and just off a driver stand comments maybe shouldn't be taken personally, but more of just a getting something because like you said, these things are very emotional. And I think if somebody calls you something on the driver stand or just off the stairs of the driver stand, a name or something is a lot different than if they walk up to you on the street and call you something. Because in your mind, you're thinking, well, they're upset about what happened. So I get it. Like as a racer, racers seem to kind of get some of these things. So as long as the line is not crossed, as long as we're not getting physical, as long as it's not too taxing on one specific person. One person's not getting attacked or verbally attacked every single race or whatever the case may be. As long as there's still a little bit of good nature fun there, I guess. Um, it's not too bad. Sure, I can understand some people not agreeing with it or wanting to be a part of it. But it is a competition. You are going to get people that are emotional. I thought Aiden's response was, like you said, it was funny, it was entertaining, and he didn't really say anything that was necessarily untrue that was happening that weekend. And I think he mentioned that are and were friends, and I do see them being friends still in the long term, but I don't think that's gonna stop one or the other from yelling at each other on the track still. I think that's gonna happen because the way the racing is, as we explained, the speed, the one line nature. I mean, we're going into a section on that track there at RC1. You're threading the needle from the back coming through and into that huge off camber. I mean, you're in a distance there that is maybe at the most one and a half, two car widths. So stuff is going to happen. It's just the way it is. Something happened with Dakota and Aiden there once coming out of that section. They got into it a little bit, and Aiden wasn't, or both weren't really happy with the way it turned out. And I think that you're gonna go into that a little bit later. But I think we're gonna have this, and I think as long as it stays kind of in the building and it stays on the driver's stand and just off the stairs, it's okay to have a little bit of playful stuff, but as long as it doesn't turn nasty. And I don't think that relationship between the two of them are that nasty. There's probably a little bit of jealousy on both sides that they have to kind of work themselves through. Um, like you said, one being a world champion, the other one not, but maybe Aiden is really more the overall a little more successful of the racer. but didn't win the world. So those are the things you got to deal with in life. Those aren't, those are the realities of life. Sometimes uh, one guy gets the big prize, some guy gets a bunch of little prizes, or whatever the case may be. That's the way it works. But they still seem to, have gotten along over the years, but there's going to be more of these. Run-ins with different drivers, and as long as it's doesn't go too far, and we're all right there, like you said, I was there, you were there, Danny and Charlie, and I think everybody kind of understands where the line is. And I kind of thought it was over. I talked to Aiden a little bit before you grabbed him for the interview, and I was like, hey, just I know what you're upset about here right now, and I know. And he looked right at me, and he's just like, I know, I understand, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's gonna be pretty cool. But then he grabbed the mic from me, and I was like, "Oh gosh, here we go."
I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't get it back. By the way,
No, no, you like it's like he takes a command of that thing.
he does that. He has been doing that for quite some time, to be honest,
Yeah, yeah,
taking the mic. But I thought it was good. That incident you talked about, we actually analyzed that on the podcast with Damon and the chairman, and
mhm,
we all came to the conclusion that it looked like Aiden. If you want to go see it, you could go see it on the previous INS podcast.
yeah,
It looks like when Aiden landed, he was turning
yeah.
and just it was on that throttle and it just shot out. It just kind of caught it and sent him that way. I don't think he did it nefariously.
No, I didn't think so either. What I thought watching in the replay and live is the car was on the right side. When the right rear tire touched, it went left. And at that point, that's when he hit Dakota, and it looked violent for Dakota because he flew into the other lane pretty much. So
Pretty much.
it looked ugly, but I don't think he's like, well, I'm just gonna take this guy out real quick. Like, I think he's just thinking I'm gonna stay in the lead. And when you come off of that section and the right rear tire hits, the car goes left. So anyway, that's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. We kind of went through this a lot of the INS stuff with those guys. So if you guys want to learn more about that, we can. I kind of want to move on because it was I really am impressed with Xray right now. I really am. Like the size of their team. Like okay, what impressed me at INS, I'm going to take this, and it looks like they might have done the same thing at the Dirt Nats. Was I think they worked out as a team to ensure that Xray got the best possible result at INS, which was Fenn needed to have a win coming right off that break. He had been a while, he had paternal lead.
Hmm.
He needed a win, needed a good result.
Yeah,
He had to work for it.
yeah.
And then Schimmel, uh, sorry, Lemieux, he won the other side of things. Schimmel was fast. I think Schimmel realized once he started making those mistakes, he had no real chance of taking a overall win. So he kind of resigned his position to if I need to help, I'm gonna help because that's what I saw. I saw him
Yeah,
block. I saw him checking up.
yeah.
But this is what happens when you have a team like this and you have these amount of guys. I
Hmm.
felt that Associated, my honest opinion, didn't send their full team. There no Rivkin, which is
Yeah.
understandable. I think he did Silver State the weekend before that, and that's their top guy. I even joked that they need to now bring Carap over to come race with these guys on carpet.
Yeah,
But
you want things to get heated.
no, well, I think that what we're seeing is I don't. It must have been the same at Hoosier because I know there's a big X-ray presence there.
Mhm,
I think that X-ray has come into the US market in the last year. Well, since let's be honest, since the forfeiture of the team of TLR,
mhm.
like X-ray was growing then, but then it just all those guys just went there. And they're now all together on this team. It's huge. You go to this team, you go to these races, and they're there to like kick ass and take names. That's what they're there to do, to win races. I don't think there's a particular person that they want to win. They want to just everybody. They want to win as a company. Does that make sense? Now they might have a particular person, like Fenn might be the golden child, but they also have. I think they realize that hey, we might get a victory over her, or we all have to work together. And I think Schimmel, Fenn, Lemieux, right now are three guys that can win any race out there.
Yeah. No,
So
there's no question about it. The I think what it is, um, 100% the breakup of the TLR team is what's started all this in our area or in the US because TLR had a very um, solid team of drivers, not only on a world and national level, but a regional level. And the majority of them went to Xray and some of them went to Schumacher. And I don't know if any went to Associated. So basically, Associated had the lion's share of the drivers, the racers, and then you had X-Ray and Schumacher who didn't have much. They had some, but not a lot. And then it kind of the landslide happened here, and now they're X-Ray is probably sitting just as powerful from a racing standpoint as X-Ray, or as Associated and X-Ray are very comparable now in terms of talent. And then Schumacher's not that far back, with Brock,
Not at all.
Tom, and Nate, and other guys that I'm missing. But what I see is there's associated drivers that have been groomed coming up through the ranks that they have to deliver also. They've been given these opportunities. They've been given these um, positions, and it's time for them to start delivering on some good results and put them back in the position where they are the more dominant team. Have they that they've been in 10 scale over the years? So they have people there. They have people in place. They have drivers that they've kind of promoted from within, and Davy Badas, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of these type of drivers. Eventually, we're gonna have the Raymond um, brothers coming
Others.
in racing mod. So they are coming. There is a sort of another group of drivers, but at the moment it's kind of a stalemate between the Associated and the X-Ray, with the X-Ray getting a little bit better of them here so far the last few events, and guys like Brennan coming into his own. It's not that he wasn't fast; he made the A-man at the Worlds already with the TLR. People talk to me and say, "Look, the guy made the A-man at the Worlds. This guy's, he's already good." Like, it didn't come from nowhere. Like, it's like we were at Hobby Action. He was probably one of the best 3 qualifiers there in terms of how he looked on the track. He looked fantastic. So it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great segue into one of my next topics is Schimmel, and he's been very impressive. Now, I met Schimmel when he's racing 8 scale. He
Okay,
wasn't
yeah,
racing
yeah.
10 scale.
Me
He was
too. I
racing
think he
8
had a
scale.
Kyosho, right? Kyosho card.
Yeah, Kyosho, and I think he was X-ray at some point too, as
Okay.
well. And then I remember this is before I was into 10 scale, and I remember he went off to stock, and I was like, "Why are you running stock?" Because I was still in my I was blind, but now I can see,
You were
right?
hating a little
And
bit, right? You were hating a little bit.
I was like a big stock hater, and he was a very good stock driver,
Yeah.
very good. He was a very good stock driver. He was very dominant. He won a lot of big races, and then he moved up to mod, and I think he struggled a bit, right? Yes, he made the final at the Worlds. This is a great accomplishment. I'm not disputing that, but he wasn't winning races. He wasn't
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, he could get a podium here and there, but you have to go.
It's just
You
a
have
whole
to
nother
go
level, yeah, it's a whole nother level.
exactly. It's like going from collegiate sports to professional sports.
Yeah,
It's a complete different level, and he has to go take his lumps and his bumps. And I think Bada was right there with him, right?
yeah,
And we've seen people do this. I'll give you a prime example, and this is no diss to him. Matty G. Matty G. Will always be a better stock racer than he's a mod racer, and I think he'll admit that to you because he was one of the guys who were very fast out of stock,
mhm,
gets up to the mod world, has some decent results, but still on that struggle bus because it's a whole different thing over there. So he goes, and it works out great for him because he's doing something that he loves. I'm not dissing him.
yeah,
I'm just saying there's many guys that have done that, right?
mhm,
I would say right now who's on that bubble is Leverrier. You know, Doug, he's moved up to mod. He's not making these A finals. That's you got to get over the mental ego
mm,
bashing that it is to yourself because it's
mhm,
like, man, I can't make an A final, and I used to be a shoe in for the A finals in the podium before in stock,
yeah,
and he has to weather that storm, and then if he's good enough, he'll be right there with those guys
Mm,
where Schimmel and Bada is. But I think Schimmel, my opinion is Schimmel got on that Xray before all these guys at
yeah.
near the end of last year, and he started having good results. I think he had a good result at Cleveland. I think it was. I think
Yeah,
he won there.
he won there, yeah.
Yeah, and um, man, he and I was very impressed with him. Like I'm uber impressed with him. I saw him at um when I watched him at INS, and he was just cool, calm, and collective. And like those guys were copying his car because his car was good, right?
Yeah.
And he was just good. And I think that I made this statement, and Max and I were talking about this in the last podcast, and then this started a big debate between some people. I think the stock class is doing its job, right? It's weeding out the good drivers to become better drivers to go on to that next level. Yes, it made we're all eyes on the Raymond twins, but they're teens. They still got a couple more years before they could, I would say, that they come up, and you got to kind of ease them into, because they got to come in
Yeah.
when they're ready. So I mean, Bada, I know these guys used to run mod and stuff before, but they went out to stock, dominated stock, came to mod, had to take their blues, and now they're like, this is why we have a very competitive mod class right now.
Yeah, I mean, um, there's always 4 or 5 guys running the stock classes that could be racing mod. Well, there's a lot more than that, but you wish I wish they ran mod personally.
Mhm.
The top 4 or 5 guys in stock, I wish they did run mod because I think it would make our mod class deeper. But from your point, you can see where they will run it a while, they can win or dominate, and then if they can move to mod eventually, and then they can have some success, it shows that the system there's something there. Maybe there is something to the system working, in a sense, where they can win in the one class, and it gives them a way to move into mod, ease into it a little bit differently instead of just being out there, you know, floundering, right? Like in mod, they come in a little bit more ready and prepared. But you know, um, that's not how we did it. I raced mod from the second that I could till um, the last time I raced, I guess. So it's like it's a little different of a mindset. Now, you can argue that today there's differences. We have sponsors today that encourage the guys to run stock because they want those wins. They've the speed controls, the motors, the batteries, the everything. You like to get those wins, and these guys kind of tend to they are going to stick around for as long as they can because it's financially and better for them to stay there because they're either getting some help to be there or they're on a contingency level structure where it's beneficial if they win. So um, I don't blame them really. There's times when you're out there when we're racing. I'd say this. Paul says this to me. I say this to Paul quite often, and you'll see a guy racing mod, and you're like, "Why is this guy running mod? Like he should be running stock." Then you see guys in stock, and you're like, "Why is this guy running stock? He should be running mod." So it's like we have people at times that are running the classes they really, in my opinion, shouldn't be running because they've chosen one or the other, but they really could run the other one. Um, so uh, sometimes it's hard to say exactly what is right, but yeah, run stock for a while, win some races, get some confidence, but then we just want that eventual bump up, right? Don't stay there. Don't wear out your welcome in the class to the point where now you're getting beat in stock by somebody, and then you go to mod and you're like, well, this is the guy that just, to me, like Schimmel, Davey Bata, even Matty G kind of did it right. They won a certain amount, then they jumped into mod and it was like, okay, now I'm in mod. But yeah, don't run it until you're getting beat, then try to go to mod. It's not going to get any easier, that's for sure.
No, 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 no. You should have done it a long time before that.
Mm.
But I also think that top echelons of stock, like any other class, be it be 21.5, should be extremely hard. Should be
Yeah,
hard. It should be difficult. There's going to be some gatekeepers there. This is the same argument I have with the whole structural sportsman, intermediate, and pro and eight
yeah,
skill.
yeah.
But let's retract back to Schimmel.
Okay.
What do you? He just comes off an impressive Dart Nationals. He could have won both classes.
Probably should have won both
He
classes.
should have won. He made one
Yep.
mistake, pulled a wheelie
Yeah.
while in the lead with no pressure. And I talked to him about it, and he just said, he goes, I just clipped that pipe and car pulled a wheelie, and that was it. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he TQ, I believe he TQ'd both 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive.
I think he TQ'd 7 of the 8 rounds of qualifying, or 6 out of 8, because he had 4 rounds in each, so he was very dominant.
Dominant. And Fenn was kind of lucky to get, no disrespect to Fenn. He was in the right position at the right time, and he did what he had to do. But
Yeah.
he was very lucky in the end to get that 4-wheel drive win
Yeah,
because
it kinda came his way a little bit, and he was able to capitalize on it.
so what, in your opinion, what has changed with Schimmel? Or what, did everything just click at one point, or what do you think's been the reason for Schimmel's results and his push in the last 6 to 8 months?
Well, when I talked to him about when he was wanting to get on the JConcepts team, I had talked to him a little bit, and I was pretty concerned with adding another driver. We obviously have plenty of drivers, um, and I was pretty concerned with adding another driver because I was concerned about putting people ahead of other people, right? So we have people on the team that have been X amount of time. They get um, an X amount of support from us based off of their performance, their influence, and their time on the team, right? So I was concerned about adding somebody, throwing them in there when I didn't know where to put them, ranking them amongst the guys we have. And, and I kind of thought what was nice about when I was speaking with him or even emailing was he was persistent about it. He was just like, look, I don't really care um, what kind of deal that you give me. I just want to be on the team because I think this is the best product I should be running right now. And I just want to get the best results that I can get. And I'm just like, okay, well, that makes a difference. And so, the fact that he just said, look, I want to run what I think is going to give me the best results. I was like, okay, so this guy kind of gets it from the standpoint of he's trying to build his case with multiple companies that, hey, I kind of belong and I think I can do better than what you've seen. But I want the best product I can get, and I'm willing to do what it takes to run that product. And that's what he did. And, we worked something out with him. I told him, I said, hey, if I have any kind of constructive criticism, is just be more of a professional. These guys sometimes they joke around, they prank each other. And I said, you know what? All that stuff's fun. But if you want to be the best in this, you have to be a little bit better of a professional, and you have to show up with a little bit of more of a killer instinct, and you got to put these guys away, and you got to be able to have that kind of mentality to be able to race with them, because otherwise they're going to bury you. Um, and one little thing, one little problem, they'll jump on you for it, and then they'll try to beat you down mentally and on the track, right? So you got to be strong with these guys, and so I think that he's done a better job at focusing on that. Starting at the beginning of the year, I think it's still his nature of his personality to have some fun at these races and be a little bit more of a jokester. Uh, and I think that is fun to be around in the pits and to be a teammate with somebody like that. But also, you got to be able to turn it on when the lights come on and you have these big moments and big races, and that first qualifier starts or that first main starts. You got to be able to run your best, and um, that's what he's done. He's ran his best at some of these events when the lights come on, like the Roar Nats or the race there in Ohio, Scotty's race. He's had some great results, and this is the first time I think I've seen someone this dominant since maybe a couple Dakota weekends at a 10 scale, as Brennan was. And now the challenge is to back that up. Is okay, I do have something. I have some speed. He showed us that he could do it in the main. He showed us that he could take the pressure. So now you got to back it up. if you want to stay in this game at the top level, because it's brutal. These guys are not going to let you have it. So you got to get in there and you got to be consistent with your speed. And I think that's what he did at the nationals. And that's what's going to tell if you're. I'm not going to say for real. You're already for
Mhm.
real if you won the nationals, but if you're going to be in this long term, that's what you got to be able to do.
I think that's all solid advice for Schimmel. I think he's taken it. We got to see him a couple of times in the morning times before we went to he was up early. He was down there getting his breakfast, getting ready for the race. These guys don't really hang out and all that type of stuff too much either. So, look, it's obviously working for him. He's doing well. Congratulations to him. Winning a mod championship, two-wheel drive championship is very good. Against some stiff competition. And also congratulations to Fenn, who's also, we don't want to say nothing about him, but Fenn, coming off a month and a half of not racing, just being a brand new father on a new chassis, racing in that carpet was like, I swear at INS, at first, when I first saw him out there, I was like, nobody's going to beat Fenn this weekend.
Yeah.
Then it was like, okay, uh, there's guys that are faster.
Mhm.
Uh, and impressive of him, and then where else was he? Did he go on? Yeah, he just won this past weekend at the warm up, for
Mm.
nationals warm up. So
Yeah.
impressive that this guy can take a month and a half off,
Yeah.
become a dad on a new chassis. He said he did do some driving, but not a lot, and
Yeah.
still come out and like, yeah, nothing's happened. We're still here.
There's some people that just got it,
He has it.
and you either have it or you don't. You either have it or you don't, and, he's a guy that has it, and there's guys that just have this uncanny feel for the cars and what they can do and how hard you can push them, and, where we were standing at the Roar Nationals, it was so common for us to be very close to the drivers driving, and you look over and you watch them while they're driving, and Um, there's certain sections of the track that are very difficult and areas that I would consider like if I was driving or racing being conservative in because hey, I don't know how far I'm from this pipe. It's the furthest one from the track. And you're watching these guys do it and you watch their radio, you watch their throttle, the steering, and then you can watch their eyes and the way that they're doing this, and there's no hesitation. They're not hesitating. They're confident in that line. They're confident in where they wanna be, and that was what was amazing. That's what you see with these guys that have a great bit of talent is they're confident that they can put these cars within a very small area, you know, um, several millimeters from where they want it to be and where they're predicting it to be. They're very good at doing that over and over again. You can see by their reaction when they're doing it, by their inputs, you can see their face that they're not surprised that they're close. They're not surprised that they're close to hitting it. They're like, "No, that's where I'm putting it. I'm putting it there." And um, they're surprised when they hit something. That's when they're surprised. They're like, "Oh, I made a mistake. How does that happen?"
That's
Um,
a good example too.
so it's like, then they're like, "Oh, something must have happened with the car, I made a mistake or that it's not working." It's like, well, sometimes you make mistakes, when you're
Well,
there's sections of the track where the car it disappears.
mhm.
There it goes behind the pipe. You go behind a pole. But these guys have the ultimate confidence, and that's the difference is when you have that high level of confidence as a driver, and then your equipment's working, there's really no stopping you, and
Yep,
that's where Dakota and these guys, Mayfield, Nate Scale, these guys have a lot of confidence in their ability. They have a lot of savvy of the racing game. They know it's not a 5-minute race in 8 scale; they're longer races, and they know how to play the game. And they've been there enough. If you've been racing since you've been 5 and 6 years old, you kind of seen it all, and guys like Dakota, they kinda got that, and that's how you can kinda wake up, time to go racing, and then you still have a feel for it better than, 99 plus percent of the people because you have that great feel.
absolutely. Before we move on to the stock class and then the dirt nationals, anything else you want to add about the mod class and maybe who was impressive for you? Or even the track always look good at they're at Hobbyplex, glued track, big, huge, um, look really good. I have yet to go to a race at this facility. Hopefully that changes this year.
Right, yeah, I didn't really think about that, but that is true.
I've been there, but I have not been to a race there.
Yeah, so would you guys stop by maybe? Is that what it was?
Yeah, we stopped
Okay.
by.
Yeah, you know, I'll kinda look here, but I the one that really comes off the top of my head is, Davy Bata. He got 2nd, he qualified 2nd, he finished 2nd in two-wheel drive. I asked him if he thinks that's his best result he's ever had, he said, "Yes." Uh, that's the best result he's ever had, so, I was impressed. He actually was the closest to winning that race of anybody else. Had Brennan made a mistake, um, any even a bobble, I mean, they're less than a second apart in that, last main. They're, basically 0.6 of a second apart in A3. So, Davey ran a great race under pressure. According to the times, he actually had the fastest run in A1. Track is faster in the beginning of the day, but he had the fastest run of the main events, 13.5 flat. So he was really impressive. Um, sometimes he's a little inconsistent. You don't know 100% what you're going to get. Are you going to get the guy that's battling to contend for the win, or is he going to be in the latter part of the event, 6, 7, 8? Is he going to be battling there? But clearly, he did not mind taking that A1 win, and then in A3, he gave Brennan all he could handle, and so that was super impressive. It's not that I didn't expect it, but he was solid. I mean, that was big. That was top stuff, with Brennan in front, him in second, and then Dakota was just a tick behind him in third, and in the third main. So you're doing it with outrageous pressure uh,
Competition.
from the top guys in the business. So obviously we had Cole Tollard made the mains with the Schumachers. Everyone forget a little bit about Cole Tollard. He's an amazing racer driver from Wisconsin. He's kind of the original Chase Lemieux from that area. Um, uh, so yeah, made the mains with the Schumachers. That's the best he's done with the Schumacher equipment. Cavallari continued just to make both mains.
Biggest surprise. I was shocked that he made I said he's having better 10 scale results than 8 scale, but he made the mains and he didn't finish I think he even got a top 5 in one of his finals.
Well, what I was
So
looking at is, so I have my theory about um, how you when you age in this, what you lose, right? Like I just completely made it up. It's not based off of anything, but I kind of made it up. And when sometimes I look at these results and I kind of look at it, and um, Cavallari actually got inside of, however you want to put it, the handicap that I have for people past 25 years old. He actually made it, on a few of his runs. He made it inside of that invisible wall that I have there. So it was that was impressive. He did good, but he really did what he's best at. He was in the B qualifier. He ran 5-minute runs. He didn't make his mistakes. He did what he knew he could do for the whole time. And there were other guys much faster. You look at the lap times. There was a big difference in lap times between Brennan and Cavallari, but he did what he knew he could do, and he did it for the entire time. So, uh,
it's like the Fernando Alonso of 10 scale.
well, I mean, a lot of times people forget. You're like, well, this is the guy that a lot of people consider the best RC racer of all time. This not really shouldn't really be a surprise, right? Like, this guy is, um,
He's won some races.
he knows what he's doing out there. He is not a rookie, that's for sure.
I would s
Uh,
I would say that I would who would probably be disappointed from this race would be Rinderneck. He would want better results.
mhm,
And I think Brock, because those
yep,
guys did not come to INS, they went testing on clay,
mhm.
and, you know, some of these guys didn't get that test session, but then again, like a Davy Botta, I will give him a caveat, he does have a glue track. So he's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
very used to the surface as well.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't take away that he was still fast at the previous weekend before that, that Lioness.
Yeah, you could clearly see that he's got something there, and he's
Mm.
got to hone in on it a little bit better. And something I found interesting, I brought this up with Brent. I talked with Brent about this all the time. I went back and looked at Cavallari's results in two-wheel drive over the years. From 2005 to 2022, he has he ran at that time, he ran 17 of these events, 17 Roar Nationals. He has 6 first place finishes and 7 seconds, one
Hmm,
third, one third, one fourth, and 2 fifths in 17 Roar Nationals.
that's pretty
So
impressive.
so he's either and Brent was like, "Okay, figure it out." He goes, "It's a 2.1 average." That's what his average was from 2005 to 2022. His average at the two-wheel drive at the Roar Nationals was 2.1. Won 6 of them and got second 7 times. So, he's pretty good at that class. That's
Very
pretty
good.
pretty
Very good. What is he? Two-time world champion in that class?
he is a one-time, I think.
One time.
I
Three-time
think
four-wheel drive.
yeah. Which and what's strange is the way all this stuff works. He may be a better two-wheel drive driver than four-wheel drive driver. That's what's kinda funny about the whole thing.
Mhm.
So,
I think it's what, for 4 Reedy championships?
yeah,
He
sounds
has?
right.
Yep. Yep. Guys have got an impressive resume.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move on to stock. So it was the Raymond twins and Dominic Passione show, kind of, this
Mhm.
weekend. I'm not surprised at that. Both of these, all 3 of those racers are prolific and very good dirt racers
Yeah.
from over there on the West Coast. Um, once again, a very confusing battle because both Pancioni and one of the Raymond twins cars look exactly the same when you're watching them on camera. We had some good
Oh, yeah.
battles.
It's confusing.
I know they need to change it, but we had some good battles between these guys. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Levi who won, right? I had it right here. Yes.
Levi won two-wheel drive.
And Dominic won four wheel drive. But last year, was it Chase that won two wheel drive?
I don't
Did they
even know.
switch?
I
That's
don't
what we're trying to
remember.
figure out. I have to go look. I have results here. But tell us a little bit about the stock class. How was it? Tyler Henley he won A2, I believe, in two-wheel drive
Mhm.
or four-wheel drive. Home track was a lot of hopes riding on him as well, being his home track and getting a big winner and stock. But man, very hard, very difficult in this very uber competitive stock class.
Yeah, I mean, what I always say is everybody wants to be a pro racer until, um, you sit on TQ at one of these races, a and there's people watching and your sponsors and your family and friends and anybody and their brother who's ever met you is watching, and then you hear you know, the tones, right? At the Worlds, it's the beeps. Then you're at the race like this, you got the moment, less than 5 and then go. Everybody wants to do this until you get to that moment and you're just like, "Man, I'm so nervous and so uncomfortable." Um, and which is just I think human nature and it's how you react with all that pressure, but it could be easier. Um, it is a lot of pressure to race at home like that, and people's expectations of you are so high. They wanna see you win, and they wanna see you do your best, but it's very nerve-wracking because, the smallest little baubles out there and that's really what it comes down to, and the smallest little things, and you slip from 1st to 5th, 1st to 4th, and, it's all or nothing, right, when you're racing from TQ. Anything short of a win after a TQ is a blowout as far as the community is concerned, right? You blew out. Um, so, but in the reality of the racer, you don't have time to think about all that up there. You can only just react to what's happening at the time and kind of put yourself in the best position. I thought Talon had a good race. Um, he unfortunately he had you kinda have to beat so many people at one time. You gotta beat both twins, and then you gotta beat, Dominic, at the same time, and then you have other guys flashing in and
Mhm.
out.
Nate was fast. He got a top 3.
Yeah, he won one of the mains, right? I think he won
Yeah,
the first two-wheel main. So maybe the
A2,
guy
sorry,
yeah, maybe the guy that you would feel is the most set up to win
has the most
based on
pressure.
past results was Nate. Um, and then, um, Talon gets the TQ. He's got the pressure there. The twins, I think they are under. You can just see the way that they react emotionally. That it's only winning for them. There is no second or third place. Second or third place is just doesn't even exist to them. Like whatever um, racing and competition and video games or whatever they've done throughout their life, it's only winning. Like, that's how I've seen a lot of racers like that in the past. There's no such thing as second, third, fourth. It's agony or ecstasy. And if they don't win, they are in agony. There is just no doubt about it. I mean, the other brother, Chase, he had a chance to win the four-wheel class. And I guarantee you it's agony for him, but he ran a great main against, Dominic, who I think is a little more polished of a racer.
He's
Um,
a little older too. He's 19,
yeah,
20, I
yeah,
think,
yeah, he's an
21.
older racer at this point compared to them,
Mhm.
and just a more polished. He's coming from mod. He actually is going backwards. He was an awesome racer in mod, and for probably sponsor reasons, he's running stock. So he's got some pressure because he probably feels like he should be winning. So because he is that more of a modified, seasoned racer. He's made A mains at the Desert Classic when everybody was there for the World's warm up, and he's perfectly capable. Trained with Dustin Evans at a Moore Raceway. They were friends, and anything Dustin did, he did, and vice versa. And the kid drives a lot like Dustin. Yeah, great driver coming from mod down to stock. So yeah, you got 4 or 5 guys there that they're hard to beat. So yeah, there was some get-togethers. Guys got together here and there. Talon made a couple little mistakes that cost him probably more than it should have. He should have at least podiumed, but some of these mistakes he had cost him a lot of positions. And sometimes a mistake might only cost you one position. In his situation, it was costing 3, 4 spots, and that was what you couldn't have in the class. But yeah, Levi I mean, they're just nerves of steel racing some of these main events, racing against Dominic and just showing like that he's not phased at all. Just another kid I'm looking up there watching their radio and watching their face, and they're just so much concentration and ability to put the car exactly where they want it, carrying a ton of speed, uh, is really something to watch. So, I mean, they had one finish between the two of them and the twins and four wheel where they basically went to the line together. Did you see that? They went right to the finish line where one kid was on top and the other one was
Mhm.
below,
Yep.
and the transponder picked up. I can't remember if it was Levi or Chase. Which one picked up for the win? But they tied at the finish line in an A main. One was on top and the other one was below, and it was unreal like that. Um, I don't even know if their transponders are in the same place or what, or if any of that came into effect. But when you look at it in a picture, my buddy Jeff took some shots, and it's like the car above looked a little bit ahead, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's so identical.
Well, they are identical twins with identical finishes in that race.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of ironic, but yeah, amazing to watch. There was some really good stock mains, and it was agony or ecstasy for the twins. Their only win or nothing, and one got the win. It was close to the Chase getting the win in four wheel, but Dominic finished it off strong. It wasn't easy mains for him either. He had situations that cost him a lot of space and a lot of positions, and he ended up recovering and getting that four wheel win, which he deserved for sure. He's an awesome driver.
He is, and, I just wanted to clarify, Levi actually won last year as well. Levi and Chase,
Yeah.
they finished one first and second, and he won this year. I like Dominic. Let's talk about it. There's a lot of rumors circulating around, so he I don't know if he works for R1 or he's sponsored by R1, right? And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why he's running stock,
Yep.
because obviously they're developing their motors and kind of like what Tom was doing when he worked for R1, but maybe not working for them. But I've seen pictures, there's rumors circling around that there's an R1 buggy coming. So
Yeah, his whole car was an R1 buggy.
really,
His whole two-wheel, yeah. It was um, I think I wanna say 100% R1 two-wheel drive buggy, and which is the reason he's running, for R1. They obviously have a big push in a lot of in their best interest to run, the stock classes. They have good electronic equipment, fast, maybe the fastest stock equipment. I don't know. When I watch, their stuff is blazing fast.
mhm,
Um, Between their speed controls and motors, they're fast. So, but then yeah, they're transitioning. I think from some of the other items they've gotten into and made, and it looks like they're making a full, complete car. It looked really nice to me. It I didn't really go and although I think him and his dad would have let me check the car out and handle it, I didn't ask, but I looked in walking by and, um, it's kinda what you would expect in today's day. It's just, it's a mix of other vehicles that are out there, the X-Ray, the Associated, it's kind of a mix of things. It's not, anything off the wall and different, but it visually looks nice.
okay, sweet. So that's good. I mean, there's a gap, right? There is a market for it right now. Any Well, I mean, we have the TR22X that dropped, and we have to give some flowers to him. He didn't make it with the 22X, but Hunter King made the four-wheel drive final. He did get railroaded. He got hit hard in one of his finals that I saw.
Another hell of a driver, Hunter
He
King.
is.
Um, and, he works hard. He wears it on his sleeve too, and he puts the pressure on himself, and he will. He was doing some good stuff with that car at 2 races I was at earlier this year. I was in Arkansas for a race that they have there, March Madness, and I was there with my buddy Jeff. We did a March Madness race there, and Hunter was running really well with that new TLR car. He had it there, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it does overall in the market, considering what has happened. But I will say that I think it's getting a lot better of a response out there than I
Yes.
felt that they would, considering what had happened and how people seem to wait to make a bad or a negative comment about Horizon. There've been a lot there's been a lot better comments than I was, anticipating, which is
Well,
kinda nice.
they did a lot of PR. I mean, they did I think Brian and I think Frank Rink did a 45-minute
Yeah.
video on it, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
you
thought
kinda
was
have
cool.
to. Yeah, you kinda have
Yeah.
to.
I I was shocked at the response too when I posted it up on the podcast. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna get." I thought it was gonna be like TLR guys defending it and everybody else bashing it, but it was actually not bad. And I mean, I call Max. I think they slipped Max a check because he was all about it, and he was geeking right out on it on our last podcast. So good stuff.
Well,
So,
then
well,
they have a stadium truck coming behind it.
that
I know
too.
Hunter was running that at the race, and, so they have some things going. I don't know that it's 100%, no expense spared into RC racing, but they're gonna have the vehicles and the kits out there for people to enjoy that like the brand.
Yeah, and not only that, like there's that RPP program still going on, right? And there's still people collecting some money
Mhm.
at these races, even just regular series races and stuff, and they have their discounts. So you have the loyalists that will stay,
Yep.
but I give Hunter King his flowers. He made the four wheel drive main. He's up there. He's like the top TLR guy now, I would say, and he made a final. So I'm giving him well done, Hunter King. Well done. I'm sure he'll be messaging me after this.
Good.
All right, it was a great Dirt Nats. I enjoyed it. I watched a good bit of it. Congratulations to Fend. Congratulations to Schimmel. Congratulations to the Raymond twins, and also to Dominic. I'm going to be watching INS next week because I'm not going to be there. Patrick's going to be doing the commentary, so that's going to be fun. I wonder if we're going to see reverse. Like, so the guys that I saw at the bottom of the final here, who do we have? Aaron Mitchell's, the Dustin
Gonna be
Foxes.
fast, super fast,
I think it's
those
gonna
guys.
be like this. I think it's gonna be crazy. I hope Jovi comes. I really do.
I
I
think
don't think
he
he
is. I
will.
think he is
He
going.
is.
I think
I
so.
I that kid impressed me. You know why he impressed me? I saw him 2 years ago at Carpet Champs, and that kid was doing some homework
Mhm.
while his everyone is out there wrenching, he's doing homework. And I'm like,
Yeah,
he's not even worrying
he's a
about the
smart
racing.
kid. He's a smart
Smart,
kid too.
fast on carpet too.
Mhm.
So I think next weekend at Island is going to be. I'm actually upset that I'm not going
Off the
because
chain.
yes, it's gonna be some good carpet racing, and I love carpet racing, and I think in both of those, I'm sorry I'm not talking about the other classes, but the stock 17.5 and 13.5 classes and the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive mod classes is where my passion is. I think it's gonna be some good racing, and it's there's gonna be some people who are not gonna be happy.
That does happen for sure.
So I think Danny and those guys jet out Tuesday or Monday after no, probably Monday because it's in Iowa, so it's another long drive.
Mhm.
And they'll be going up to the Island Raceway. I know a few people are disappointed I'm not going. I'm disappointed I'm not going. I am coming to the Omaha race for the
Okay.
next dirt race, so I'll be
Have you
there.
been there? Have you been
I
there?
have not been to Hobbyplex
Okay.
yet,
Yeah,
so that
that's a whole 'nother experience too.
it's going to be hot. I know that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a little drier than Florida heat.
Eh, yeah, it's hot.
No, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. But it's going to be interesting. Elite RC Productions will be doing all the coverage. Patrick will be doing the announcing, I believe, mixed with Lance. And of course, we have the Pazinator, the Tasmanian Devil, the fourth wheel.
He's like a human cheat code.
Dude, the guy's smart. Like, you gotta see Danny Paz figure out a problem. He walks in front of you, like talking to himself and shaking his finger. And then oh, I got it. And then
Yep.
he's amazing. He's an amazing. He's very smart. I know I said when this was only going to be an hour, but I really want to get your quick thoughts on the World's warm up, what you guys learned on there. I know
Mhm.
you're not. I know you're not going on there as a tire company because obviously it's a spec tire. But what were your thoughts of going on there, checking that all out, and going on for the warm up? And that kid, that not kid, but that guy Lockley,
Yeah.
who looks to be kicking some ass on there.
Yeah. You know, it's not an easy trip, but I did have a really good trip going there. Orlando to LA, LA to Sydney. I happened to ride with Scotty from the airport. He was on my flight. I rode with him from the airport to the track. We went straight there, and I'd had nothing but great experiences there. I think everybody that is qualified for that race should definitely go. It was a great area to be in. The track is in this park setting. People are calling it Jurassic Park because there's all these bird noises and different things going on in the background. I loved it. I liked being there. The whole experience was great, and we did learn a lot. The drivers ran. I think we counted up something like 1,000 laps. I think Aiden counted his laps somewhere around 1,000 laps, and I think everyone that was there probably got something in that area. So obviously, a new track layout will change things for a lot of drivers. I think Lachlan Donnelly, he's going to be quick no matter what. He's seasoned driver. I think he was in the B final at Hobby Action. Uh, coming to a track that he doesn't really race at. So, um, yeah, this could be another Schimmel. In the making. You never really know. He could. This could be. Everyone doubts somebody that they can do it or get it done when the big dogs. And who knows? He could just say, you know what? I am the fastest guy on this surface and track. I don't care what layout we put in here. And I think there's a lot of people that would like to see that happen because sure, I think sometimes people get sick of the same people winning all the time. They want to see new winners like Schimmel and others kind of crack open these big wins. So it'll be interesting to see. I see that he'll be in the game. Spencer, Orlowski, Daniel Klobovic, you know, whoever I'm missing, but those were the guys that were seemed to be the quickest when I was there. Obviously along with Lachlan, so who won both classes. But I'd recommend anybody that's qualified for sure they should go, and they have the means to go, they should go. I think they'll completely enjoy it. There's nothing like having an international world's experience, um, for a driver from the US. I think it changes everything for you, your mentality about the importance of the worlds and how it feels and the vibe, and you learn a lot. That's what I did as a racer. You learned a lot about the vibe and what it takes to produce at that high level and how the stakes kind of raise a little bit. So I would definitely recommend it. The race um, promoters, the guys that run the track, they have a good group. Even the online presence was good. They brought Scotty in to do the commentary. They had is it
RC
called
Race Media.
RC Race Media is the one doing it. They were interviewing. They were doing the same stuff that a lot of you guys do on a consistent basis, but it was professional. And Scotty was giving his 2 cents there constantly as the commentator, and they did a little something different. They ran the speakers of Scotty to the pits and to the spectators, not towards the drivers. So for people that don't know, at the Worlds, you normally don't hear any announcing. It's just especially like when we were in Spain, all you hear is really the guy, the referee says car 1, car 2, car 4. They don't even reference the driver. You could have Ronafolk and Mayfield and Ungaro and everybody in the same race, and these guys don't even get mentioned. It's their car number at the World. So there, what they did is they spun the commentary speakers around to the crowd in the pits so they could hear the commentary, but the drivers still heard sort of that stagnant IFMAR system of just straight car number and leaders and all that. So that was kind of nice because you could sit in the pits and you could actually hear the same thing that you hear online, and that you got your updates. It wasn't just stone silent, so you could hear Scotty doing the race, and they're gonna separate it even more. So the driver said they could hear a little bit of Scotty, so they're gonna move it a little further away, I guess. But so they want to keep the IFMAR system, the worlds the way it's run for the drivers the same, but they want the spectators and the pits to be able to hear the commentary.
Yeah, and for people that may not understand that, they don't allow announcing commentary at these type of events because it's considered coaching to an extent.
Yep.
So it does make for a dull experience as a spectator, uh, because that's all you hear is the referee, car number 1, car number 2, or such and such give this position
Yeah.
back, or
Mhm.
but that's just kinda, I for as a sp I think that's a great idea because there's
Yeah.
that's what Scotty's there for. That's what the lads is there for. They also are very good at getting the spectators and racers going. So I like it. I like that. So
Yeah.
because
So
it's nothing
definitely
worse than
go.
that.
We definitely learned some things for us personally trying to, two-wheel front tire is open. We can still work in there. We can work with the wheels, the accessories, the bodies, the wings. That's what we like to do. We still like to support our drivers. That's why I went. I told Spencer and our guys I would go to the warm up. We went, we learned some things. We hope to bring some things back and help our guys win it.
You think we're gonna see any one-off type of builds? Like, I don't know, something with a less laid down motor or anything like that going
I
into
don't
this?
think so. I don't
Okay.
think so.
We're just
I
so
think
far ahead with those cars.
I think I think there may be the potential of new parts,
Mhm.
but they won't be made, I don't think, necessarily specific for that race. It'll be something that's coming as a continuation of a vehicle they might already have. Like, if there's going to be a new generation of a X-Ray Associated or Schumacher,
Mhm.
they might not make it just for that race. They'll probably make it as their next generation vehicle. So I think we'll see those parts for sure.
Okay.
I don't think we'll see anything just for that track because it is loose. It's loose in the morning, especially when it's wet. But as it dries out, now granted, there could be rain that could throw, a wrench into the whole situation, and you have to run multiple qualifiers in the wet, and then you're loose, for the majority of your runs. But other than that, I think there's going to be a lot of racing on the dry track, and on the dry track, you know, the speed still comes from steering and, being able to manage steering. So I think the cars we make, I mean, those guys when the track was dry, their driving is probably not as hard as they could, but they were driving hard. And
Okay.
I don't think that it's a disadvantage of what they're using, at least from what I could see.
I really wanna go to this world championship, but That's a long trip. Long trip. Long time away.
Mhm.
I'm trying to, I don't know. I was trying to get Max to go, but he doesn't wanna go either. So,
You guys
I
need
don't
to
know.
get together with Will. Will said he's gonna go.
I was
Get
talking to
together with
Will.
him.
I was talking to the chairman, but he's also racing, right?
Yeah.
So, he's racing, doing his vlog, and then I'm trying. I might work out something with him, and then he can do some. And he's the chairman. He's got to do some NNRC stuff. We'll help him out. We'll get him over there. We'll help get him over there. So I don't know if we did this before, but I think we should make some picks going into INS or into Island. Do you want
Okay.
to be neutral?
I can pick. I don't
I can pick two. Let's just do 17.5 two-wheel drive, forward, 13.5 four-wheel drive, and then two-wheel drive mod and four-wheel drive mod. Do you want to do just winners or you want to do top threes?
let's just do winner.
Okay, that's good. I like that. Can I go first?
Go first.
All right. I think in two-wheel drive, Rindenek's gonna win.
I like
Home
it.
track. Four-wheel drive, I don't know, man. I'm between Schimmel, Champlin, and Rindenek. But I don't know who to pick. I'm gonna go you know what? I'm going with Rindenek. Two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Here we go. And in stock, Aaron Mitchell. Both. Why?
Oh,
Because I did my homework. Home track. Both him and
so
Vaughn.
you were setting this up. You already knew. You're like, I'm gonna check in here a little bit.
But if Jovi's going, there might be some there could be a lot of people that could upset that, but Jovi is like a very close second right now to me.
I mean, I look at the entries. I mean, we got 33 in two wheel mod. I mean, just it's pretty stacked too.
I
Like you
know
said,
it is.
I think you have great picks. I like Tom to win at least one of the classes. I'd like to see it happen for sure. At least I'd like to see it happen. It looks like Dakota's a manual entry right now, and what I'm going to say is I'm going to say Brock is going to win one class and Tom's going to win the other. But Dakota and where did he go? And Schimmel, I think they're going to be near, and then Spencer. That's going to be. Those are the four guys I'm picking right now. But I think Brock and Tom are going to split.
You know who we're not mentioning in this, and we probably should, but we can't mention too many people? Bada.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it, I saw it, and I'm like, man, if I got to just make a call right now, so he feel free to prove us wrong.
That's right. They can.
Feel
It's gonna be good.
feel
I'll be
free.
watching. I'll be watching. Danny,
On
I'll be
on the
watching.
on the 17.5, 13.5, looks like we got a pretty deep field here.
Dude, it's hard to be Dustin Fox on carpet too. Dude's fast.
I I really like him as a carpet watching him as a carpet racer, just so incredibly talented. I'm going with Jovi on one of the classes, and Nate in one of them, and then, one of the Raymonds in the other. So I think Jovi, if he runs truck, he'll win truck. One of the Raymonds is gonna win one of the other class, and then, Nate would win the
I
other
didn't
one.
pick a truck guy.
Yeah, I took it.
I'm going for Nate in truck,
Yep.
and I'm going for Fend in truck. If he
Okay.
runs truck. He might not run truck though.
No, it's a 13.5 truck, so Dakota won't run truck.
Oh, right, that's right. You don't have mod truck at INS. I forgot.
No.
We're thinking of Nats. Okay, so I'm going with Nate.
Okay.
So Nate for truck.
And
I'll clean
I
this.
pretty much gotta go, so hopefully we're kinda done.
We are done.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And have fun at INS. And I'll be looking forward to talking to you about it after.
Alright, let me know if you need something.
Awesome. And also a big shout out to all the sponsors that make it happen. Obviously, JConcepts, A Main Hobbies, Hobby Wing, Schumacher, Exalt, Team Associated, Reedy, and the Elite RC Productions crew. You can tune into all the coverage on the Elite RC Productions YouTube starting next this Friday as this is released. From Lefty Great and Jason Rouna, thank you for all the support. We'll see you at the INS. We're out.